The Boy Who Invented Numbers. Chapter 12. 3 New Numbers. Pilk had been so tired that night that he had just collapsed at Fiena's front door, so her mother and father had let him sleep on the rug by the fire. He was woken up by the smell of eggs and bacon cooking, and Fiena nudging him. "Wake up, sleepyhead," she called out. "We've got a busy day ahead." It took him a minute to work out where he was and how he had got there, and then he remembered how Fiena had saved his skin the night before. "That was brilliant what you did with Tufa and Atty last night with the flute. What made you think of it?" "I just had a hunch it might work," Fiena said. "Nina's taught me that if I listen and learn and trust in myself and my true friends, they'll be there when I need them." "Oh," Pilk groaned, "that's a little bit too wise for me at this time of the morning. Can I just skip to the bacon and eggs?" It didn't take them long to polish off their breakfasts, and once they had got the things they needed to venture back into the woods again, they made their way over to Nina's place. Nina was happily cooking up breakfast herself and singing and dancing like they had never heard her before. But when they saw Evan, they almost burst out laughing. He looked like he'd been washed and scrubbed and shaved and transformed into a modern Stone Age man. He was a completely different person, and he didn't look too happy about it either. "Oh my stars," Pilk cried. "Did Nina throw you into the river or something?" "Let's just say," Evan said, letting out a long sigh, "that there are some things that you have to do for a mother's love. Oh, and yes, she did march me down to the river and made me wash off every last bit of dirt." "Well, you look about 30 years younger," Fiena said. "Quite handsome, even." "Get away with you," Evan said, blushing, but smiled all the same. "Your mum sounds happy," Pilk chuckled. "Oh, I know," Evan said. "She's been like that all morning. I haven't had a moment of peace without her fussing over me." "Well, it's not very often that long-lost sons return to their mothers," Fiena said. "You sound just like her," Evan and Pilk both said at the same time. Pilk and Fiena checked in to see how Sam was, and were pleased to see that he was awake and able to talk, but still not in the best of health. "Oh, I don't feel so great," he groaned, "but I am pleased that you brought me here, as I think I'm in the best hands now." "You should be thankful it was these two that found you," Nina said. "On their own, they are both very bright young people, but together they can take on the world." "No, I am happy what they've done for me," Sam drawled. "It's just that I'm not very good at showing it, on account of the fact—" "You don't have to thank us, Sam," Fiena interrupted. "We were glad to do it, and would never have left you there on your own, would we, Pilk?" "What, eh? No, of course not," Pilk stuttered. "Never even crossed my mind." "There you are, Sam," Fiena said. "You can thank us when you're up and about again." Then she spoke to Nina. "We're going down to the lagoon now, Nina, to get the rest of what you asked for." "Bless you, my dears," Nina said. "I can make medicine with the things you've already brought me, but it will help Sam enormously if you can bring some yellow fruit. It has wonderful healing properties, and it's delicious." "I haven't forgotten that you want me to bring back fruit for you too," Pilk laughed, and Nina chuckled back. "Are you staying here or coming with us, Evan?" Fiena asked him. "I don't think my mother's letting me go anywhere at the moment," Evan said, shrugging. "She's only just got me back, but I'm pretty sure you two can look after yourselves. But she can bring me back a fruit as well if you like." "It's a deal," Fiena said, and she and Pilk set off into the forest for what they hoped would be an easier day than the day before. But this, of course, was a brand new day, and it had only just begun. "So, have you thought any more about the symbols, Pilk?" Fiena asked as they walked along down the path to the lagoon. "Not had a chance, really," Pilk replied, "but I think the next symbol should be for poor sick Sam. He was the next person I met after you." "Yeah, that's true," Fiona agreed. "What about his symbol, then?" "That's easy," Pilk said, and he bent down, picked up 6 stones and laid them out in 2 rows of 3 in a rough rectangle. Fiona was impressed with its simplicity. It was small, tidy, and made sense, like all the other symbols he had made. "I really like it," Fiona said, "but I've noticed something else interesting about it." She picked up a small twig and scratched lines between pairs of stones. "There you are," she said. "What do you think of that?" "What is it?" Pilk said, a little puzzled. "They're your Tufa symbols. You know, the dog bone symbols, all standing in a row next to each other." Fiona beamed. "And you can count them like this. 1, 2, 3. Don't you think that's clever?" She didn't know it, of course, because mathematics hadn't been invented yet, but Fiona had just done the first ever multiplication. A light bulb suddenly went on in Pilk's brain as well, or maybe we should say a prehistoric torch burnt brightly. "Oh yes," Pilk said, "and look at this." Pilk drew more lines, joining the top and bottom of 2 of the dog bone symbols, making a square. "Now there's a 4 symbol next to a 2 symbol," Pilk said excitedly, enjoying this new game. What Pilk didn't know was that he had just completed the first ever addition. If this story were true, then this would have been a historic day of mathematical firsts. "Wow," Fiona said, "I think I like this. What did Nina call it? Fruitomatics? I think it would come in really handy for knowing how much you've got of something, and for sharing things out fairly." "So that's 6, Samble," Pilk said, "but I might just shorten it down to 6. It's quicker to say." "You're getting quite good at this now, aren't you, Pilk?" Fiona said. "I don't think I could come up with a symbol that quickly." Pilk thought about that for a second and decided, for the first time, that Fiona was wrong. "Why don't you think of the next symbol, then?" Pilk said. "But it's your system," Fiona said. "I couldn't." "It's not really my system, is it, Fiona?" Pilk said. "It's ours. You saw the patterns before I did, and you suggested I give them names. I wouldn't have done that if you weren't there." Fiona couldn't think of an argument against what he had just said, so she gave in. "Well, OK," Fiona said. "Pass me another stone." Fiona looked at Pilk's rectangle symbol, and then placed her stone next to one of the long sides, and drew lines around it so it looked a bit like a house. "How about that?" Fiona said, appearing satisfied with her effort. "It reminds me of Evan and Nina back together again under the same roof." "I have to say that is pretty good," Pilk admitted, "at least for a beginner." "Watch it," Fiona said. "I might not be so quick to save you from Tufa and Atty next time." "I don't think I'm ever going to live that down, am I?" Pilk complained. "What are you going to call this new symbol, anyway?" Evan's symbol?" Fiona tried. "That's who I was thinking of at the time." Pilk hummed. "I don't think we allowed names, did we?" "What remind you of him?" Fiona closed her eyes to concentrate and remembered the music drifting across the field of moondrop flowers. "Evan's heaven," Fiona said. "That's what he called the moondrop meadow where he and his father's spirit lives. His heaven." "That's a good idea," Pilk said. "So, is that what you're settling on, then?" "Yes, why not?" Fiona said. "If it can't be Evan's heaven, then I will just call it his heaven. Or maybe just 7 for short." "7 sounds good to me," Pilk said. "So, we've nearly done all of our fingers. Nina will be pleased." "Well, we're on a roll now," Fiona said. "Why stop? What's next?" "Well, the symbol's easy enough," Pilk said, and he picked up 8 new stones and made 2 squares side by side. "There you are, 4 and 4. But what shall we call it? Who did we meet after Evan, and what reminds us of them?" They stroked their chins and scratched their heads in deep thought, and then both suddenly turned to each other and said the same thing at the same time. "Atty ate it."